Deontay Wilder knocks out Bermane Stiverne in the first round in their rematch. This was actually sad, and the reason why I say that is because of Bermane Stiverne's mindset as a fighter, which has been the same his whole career. I've often talked about how fighters will give themselves excuses in their own mind to try and stay positive and motivate themselves and give themselves self-belief. So when they lose a fight, they give themselves excuses and they build confidence on top of those excuses. Well, Bermane Stiverne is an extreme case when it comes to that, because every time in his career that he's lost or he's had a bad performance, he's had some type of excuse. That is something you have to expect from fighters, but as boxing fans, we're supposed to understand that a lot of the time these excuses are not valid. Sometimes they are, but a lot of the time they're not. And when you look at Bermane Stiverne in his career, if you've been paying attention, I struggle to understand why anybody bought into Stiverne's excuse after the first Wilder fight that he was dehydrated. You know, people say, oh, well, the doctor said he was dehydrated. That was after the fight. He'd done 12 rounds. Of course he's going to be dehydrated after the fight. What? It was just the most absurd excuse I've ever heard. When he had a poor performance against Ray Austin, he said that he had a fever in the ring. You know, he just always got excuses. So in this fight here, Wilder dropped him 3 times. The first knockdown was a great straight right hand right through Bermane Stiverne's guard. Wicked punch. Stiverne went down. He was wobbling. When Stiverne got back up from that knockdown, once again, his denial started kicking in and he was shaking his head and mumbling to the referee as if it was a slip. Incredible, this guy. He got dropped again, and you know, even though he said it was a slip the first time, he was wobbling, especially when you saw the overhead view. You could see that he was unsteady on his legs when he got up from the first knockdown, which was a beautiful straight right hand bang, you know, straight through the middle. Second knockdown, another right hand dropped him. You know, he got up again and he was even more unsteady and disorientated. The third knockdown was kind of a clubbing right hand to the side of the head, just above the ear. And he was nearly knocked out cold from the third knockdown. I said second there. Yeah, he was nearly knocked out cold. So the referee waved it off as soon as he went down for the third time. After the fight, Stiverne was walking around the ring saying, he hit me in the back of the head. Now, with Stiverne, it's not just the fact that he has that glasses half full fighter's mentality, but I've always said this, and I don't mean this in a disrespectful way. At the end of the day, we've all got strengths and weaknesses in life. You know, Stiverne's obviously a better fighter than I am. That's why he's in there fighting for heavyweight titles and I'm not. But one of the things I've always felt is not a strong point with Bermane Stiverne is his intellect. He's never, to me, come across as the sharpest tool in the box, you know, to put it mildly. And I think that was an example of it right there in terms of his attitude towards even losing in the first round in that fashion. The guy's still trying to come up with excuses. It's like, bro, you just got obliterated and you're trying to say that, oh no, I got hit in the... No, you didn't get hit in the back of the head. You just got obliterated by a guy who's a much better fighter. And on top of that, you've been out the ring more or less 3 years. He had one fight against Derek Rossi and he got dropped in the Derek Rossi fight. Legitimately. So it appears that his punch resistance is actually decreased. And in fact, he might have been damaged goods from the first Wilder fight, to be honest with you. Because he took a lot of punishment in that first fight. He might have actually been damaged goods. And that fight right there might have actually chipped away at his punch resistance. And when you combine that with the time that he spent out of the ring, you know, it is what it is. So anyway, Wilder retains his WBC heavyweight title, knocks out Stiverne in 1 round. Nobody's really shocked. Nobody should be shocked because of the fact that Stiverne's been out for so long and Wilder's been active. So this is what can happen, you know. I thought Wilder would win. I thought he'd stop Stiverne as long as he don't hurt his hand. I didn't necessarily predict it would be in one round, but he's got that kind of power. But let's not get this mistaken for a top heavyweight that he fought here. You know, let's not get it twisted and think that he went out there and blew out one of the top heavyweights in the division. He didn't. But having said that, the punches that he delivered, that straight right hand that he can deliver, I would love to see what would happen if he delivered that straight right hand on Anthony Joshua's jaw. I'd be very interested to see what the effect would be. And as I've said before, Wilder has two things which Anthony Joshua don't really have. One is very quick speed for a guy of that size. Like Wilder is much more mobile than Joshua, the way he moves around the ring and the way he can throw a powerful right hand from long range. Joshua can't do that. He's nowhere near as fast as that. And the second thing, of course, as I mentioned before, is Wilder's stamina. Wilder's got better stamina than Joshua, you know. So it'll be interesting from a strategic point of view to see how Wilder would approach a Joshua fight, if he'd try and take it long, or if he'd try and, maybe bomb Joshua out early, or, what his strategy would be interesting. But he's got a lot of dangerous tools there for an Anthony Joshua to have to be concerned about, definitely. He's not the joke that so many people seem to think he is, Deontay Wilder. They call him Windmill Wilder. There was no windmills in this fight. It was all straight shots that took Bermane Stiverne out. So, yeah. Let me know what you felt about his performance in the comment section below. I know we didn't really learn much about this other than this is what can happen to you. We didn't learn much from this other than this is what can happen to you when you've been out the ring for too long and you're going up against a guy who's active and improving, But still, let me know how you felt about the performance and what did you think of what. One thing I will say as well, his hand seemed, I know it was only one round, but at least he's not afraid to let that right hand go. As much issues as he's had with it, he's not afraid to let it go. Sometimes fighters who have hand issues, they can start getting a bit shy with the hand that they keep hurting. That's not the case with Deontay Wilder, and that's obviously a good thing. So, yeah, anyway, it's Hatman, I'm out.